I've always loved hearing the gentleman start your engines and that giant roar that comes after, and the feel of the car underneath you when you're running. It's something that I've grown to love since I was 8 years old and loved watching it on TV. It's become a big part of my life. I remember being a kid and sitting on the couch with my dad, and we watched every single Sunday, watched every race. And I remember watching Mark Martin was always our favorite. That's really when I realized I loved racing, and then I remember being about 8 years old and saying to my dad, you know, I'd like to go drive a race car. I remember the first time I went to the track and they buckled me in the car, and it was such a different feel, but I remember making those laps and it was just, I was comfortable and it felt natural, and I realized that that was something that I really, really wanted to do. And our first race we finished second, and it made me mad that I didn't win, so I had to go back and try to keep pushing for it, and it's just become something that I couldn't live without. I met Mark when I was maybe 8 or 9 years old. I was in New Smyrna, and I was at the track that he actually, if I remember right, he built it, and he came there to watch another kid race that he had heard about, and they said he was a big up-and-comer, and I was in the same race that the kid he was there to watch was in, and I won. And it was my first time in that series, first time in that car, first time at that track. And he came up to me after the race and he said, "What's your name?" And I introduced myself, and he said, "Can I have my picture with you?" And of course, my dad and I were just completely shocked, and we look at that picture all the time. It's something that's really cool because I was, like I said, still really young and still learning about racing, and here I am with Mark Martin having my picture taken. My family has played a big part ever since I was 8 years old and just started. It went out from my dad and my uncle sitting in my uncle's garage scaling my quarter midget on a bathroom scale, which at the time was what we had, and we thought that was okay, and now, you know, we use computers and all that stuff. I've always said the dream is to make it to Sprint Cup. As a lot of the drivers these days, that's what we want to go do. That's the pinnacle of racing. Racing in NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is where everybody's trying to get, it seems like. My ultimate goal is to make it to Sprint Cup, and as big as it is, I want to beat Jimmy Johnson's record. If you were able to make a big pass for the win going on the straightaway, it's so gratifying to know that motor pulled you by, the engine pulled you by that car on the front straightaway and made that last lap pass that everybody got that picture of, that big deal that makes the magazine that next week.